Thank you for tuning in to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, where we discuss the latest news, rumors, and games of the NFL and college football. As always, I'm Jeremiah.
And I'm Anthony.
And we're back for episode 183, and it is Thursday, February 23rd. And later, Anthony, Tom Brady has been in news for the past 2 days.
Yes, he has.
And for two different reasons, but we'll talk about that at the end of the show. I brought these two stories to you, and you're like, yes, we're doing them.
Oh, yeah.
We're doing them.
Oh, yeah.
And we might have an early retirement soon. But before we get to that, we got to talk about James Harrison.
Right.
He's 38 years old.
Yes, he is.
He is a free agent, and he wants a 2-year deal, basically saying he wants to play to age 40.
Mm-hmm.
So he's talked with the Steelers.
Yes, he has.
And, do you think that the Steelers will sign Harrison to a 2-year deal before that? Okay.
Yes. No, I do. I think he will. They will sign him for one because he's James Harrison. You tell him no. And second of all, he's still pretty productive. Like, him being 38 and whatever, like, that's obviously insane because usually someone, especially on the defensive side, it's one thing if you're a quarterback and you can basically play a different position or a place kicker where, again, you can basically just, like, play the game of football, but basically you don't play the same position because you don't get hit as much. But he's a dude actually hitting people, but all of that, being considered, he was still, a pretty good player. Like, he only had 5 sacks or whatever, but sacks never been his forte necessarily outside of, a handful of years where he would get double-digit sacks. He's had around 5 sacks basically, every year since 2012. He's basically the guy that, is the veteran leader of the defense and still pretty productive player. And the 2-year deal, what does that matter? Like, the two-year deal basically is we're going to sign you for next year. And if you're still productive, then we're going to bring you back for the year after that. But if you stink, then we're going to cut you. Like, basically, whatever he makes this year is going to be the 2-year deal. Like, if it's 2 years, $12 million, he's basically going to make like $7 million this year, basically. And the next year, unless he's still getting like 5 or 6 sacks, they're going to be like, all right, James, look, you got to go.
Yeah, and remember, James Harrison actually did retire a couple years ago.
Right.
He was released by Pittsburgh and then Cincinnati in back-to-back years. Announced his retirement. Then he came back to the Steelers because, for one, they had injuries at linebacker, and they got him on a cheap deal, 2-year, $2.75 million.
Right.
He outperformed that.
Wait.
I think we can agree to that. He outperformed that. So I do think he's going to, one, get his contract. He's going to get his deal. I do think that, he's been productive. Like, I think if he wasn't productive at all, then I don't even think this will be like a non-story for me. But he's been productive. So I do think it's kind of amazing how he's still playing at a pretty good level.
Right.
Despite his age. And he's playing a position where, for one, you hit a lot of people and it takes a lot out of you.
Yeah. So
he's been probably one of the best defensive players for the Steelers, probably in the franchise. Like, he's been one of the best. Yeah. No,
he's been someone who maybe isn't like the best player because Shazier's getting better and in a certain time he had like Polamalu and everybody else, but as far as like consistency goes, like, he's been on the team for a very long period of time and still, like I said, performing at a decent level considering everything else. He's also someone who basically, they had this report from NFL.com a little bit back that he spends anywhere from $400,000 to $600,000 annually on his body, which is basically him saying, like, all right, cool, you're going to pay me this money. I'm going to take literally a solid percentage of it, and it's going to go toward making sure that I can still stay in the league. Because if you spend that much money on your body, you want to play in the NFL, and you basically think, like, the only reason that I'm going to stay in the NFL is if I do all these things. If I don't spend $500,000 on my body, it's not going to work. Like, I'm not going to be able to perform it the way I perform. And, I mean, like I said, to be fair, like, he was 37 years old. Like you say, he's 38 right now. But, like, last year when he was 37, he was still a pretty productive player and enough of a force to where, like, you had to kind of focus on what he's doing. You know, he's going to be 39 so next season he was 38 last year. So 39 is going to be next year. He's going to turn 39 on May 4th. So he's, will he play until he's 40? Probably not, because I don't see him playing that much longer. Like, he'll play next year because, what do they have to replace him with? And also he's, not going to play with another team. I don't think he's going to go back to Cincinnati or go to any other team, the Dolphins or the Eagles or anything else like that. So, yeah, sign him for another year. If that works out, the 2-year deal, you make him, eligible for that next year. And then at age 40, I'm assuming he'll retire, and he'll be maybe not someone who gets his jersey retired, but one of the fan favorites probably of the Steelers. And it's kind of funny. He's going to be a fan favorite while also being probably the most menacing player in the history of the NFL. And someone who hates so much Roger Goodell.
Yeah. And you say that he spent $600
up to $600,000, yeah.
Yeah, so 6 figures. Mm-hmm. Man, I wish I could spend $600,000 on my body.
I wish I could spend $6,000 on my body. I can't even do stuff like that.
I wish I had $6,000. Shoot, man. Man, what am I doing wrong? I'm kidding. But
I guess I probably do spend $6,000 on my body if you include all the food I've spent over the last year. Like, that's more than $6,000. So I guess there's that part. It's just not in the good way.
Okay. Yeah.
Taco Bell, man.
Taco Bell?
Bell, man.
Shout out to Taco Bell there.
Dude, those grilled stuffed burritos.
Oh, my God. Speaking of Taco Bell, I was, because there's literally a Taco Bell literally down the street from my apartment. Mm-hmm. And then I was at my friend's place in the same complex, and we just kept dropping hits of Taco Bell. I'm like, do you want to go? No. Do you want to go? No. But we both know we both wanted to go. We just didn't want to be unhealthy.
Right.
So, and we're like, bro, why do you always bring up Taco Bell?
Dude, Taco Bell's the only place that I'll go to that's like fast food that I have no shame about going to. Like McDonald's, shame. Wendy's, shame. Burger King, shame. Like all the other things, shame. Taco Bell is just like, no, we're getting this food. Like, I
have to say Taco Bell and In-N-Out are the 2 top places.
In-N-Out may be one of those two, actually. That's probably fair.
Here in the West Coast,
Did you see that they're going to have in Vegas, there's like a cantina, Taco Bell in Vegas, that they're going to have weddings?
Yes, I did see that.
That's the weirdest thing, man.
Yes, I did. I did see that.
That's the weirdest thing.
That's the most Vegas thing I've ever seen, ever. Well, yeah, anyways, enough about Taco Bell. Before we move on to...
All right, so one more person so we had a person who's going to stay in the NFL for 2 years. Yeah. Now we got someone who might retire, maybe. Jay Cutler, who we talked about yesterday, and we talked about how he's basically going to be... available for teams that want him because it looks like the Bears are going to cut him or try and trade him or whatever. It's still at $12 million you have to pick up if you're going to sign him. So now there's reports out that Jay Cutler might retire because over the last 7 years he's had at least a significant injury that he's had to deal with. Now there's a situation where he's thinking about retiring, and if this had been like 5 years ago, I don't think any of us would have taken this seriously because it's been one of those things of just like, oh yeah, sure, he's going to turn down all this money. Okay, yeah, sure. But I mean, you're a Niners fan. How many of the players on your team either retired or, Alden Smith, I guess, is a different situation, but you had Patrick Willis, Justin Smith, you had offensive lineman twice. I can't remember what his name is right now. Anthony Davis.
Not Anthony Davis, the basketball player. Anthony Davis, the offensive tackle.
He retired twice. So, like, at this point, if someone says they're going to retire, even if they're a quarterback, you got to at least take it a little bit seriously. And it's not like Jay Cutler hasn't played in the league for about a decade. Like we've seen what he can do. If he retires, it wouldn't surprise me. But there's also going to be teams out there that are going to want him because we saw last year with Houston, they were so bad at quarterback. There's going to be teams that want him just because they always have the hope with Jay Cutler.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know why he's considering it, but I can understand why he is doing it.
It's probably one of those things with Jay Cutler. Like I said, like he's had those injuries, right? Like he's someone who, it's not like your Tom Brady, who the only reason he's missed any time over his career was because, he got his knee blown out in 2008 or Deflategate happened. Like those are the only reasons why he's gone. Like he hasn't had like a significant injury to where Jay Cutler, he basically has at least had something that's held him out every year. Like, he's only played 16 games, 3 times in his career. And that's been 15 for a couple others, but also there's like an 11, a 10, and last year it was 5. So then maybe, at 33 years of age, like it's starting to kind of catch up with him. And he's just kind of just like, look, man, I don't really want to keep doing these things if I'm going to keep getting hurt because that offensive line in Chicago last year, that's no good. So maybe he, doesn't want to keep getting behind these bad lines and keep getting hurt. So he's at least thinking about it, like just thinking about it. Not saying I'm going to do it, but at least something where it's just like, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, and I do think that's something that a lot of people don't talk about is the injuries of Jay Cutler. They always he's had trouble to stay healthy.
Yeah.
The past couple of years, and I think it is just plain time for the Bears to move on. I honestly, no matter what, he's not going to be on the Bears next year.
No.
But I think if he is in the right situation, I do think he will be on a squad starting week 1.
Mm-hmm.
Who that team is, I think if it's attractive enough, I think he will be there.
Right.
Let's just say hypothetically, the Browns. Not the Browns. Actually, yeah. Let's just say the Bears trade Cutler to the Browns.
To the Browns. Okay.
Jay Cutler's retiring. Okay.
That'll be the thing. That'll be his thing where it's just like, we're trading you to the Browns. I retire.
Yeah, he's retiring.
Like immediately, it's not just like a thought process. Like, we're trading you to I got a trade? Cool. Where am I going? Cleveland. I retire.
He's retiring. Okay. If Tony Romo gets traded to the Browns, he's retiring. Okay.
What if he gets traded to your Niners? I retire.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I retire.
Like, honestly, yeah.
You're traded to the Jets. I retire. There's a couple of teams where it's just like...
You get traded to Houston. All right, I'll be there.
Yeah, Houston is like, oh, cool. I got a good defense and a solid line and a good receiving core. All right, cool. Let's go. Let's do this. Oh, you're getting traded to the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, cool. That's fine. I'll be a backup. I don't care about it. That's cool. Oh, you're getting traded to the Dolphins. Oh, okay, cool. So I get to be a backup the rest of my career. Oh, okay, cool. You're getting traded to the Browns. I retire.
So he rather be a backup than play on the Browns. Wow, I'm kidding.
I mean,
that's just how I just thought that was something that was funny to bring up because it's like, hypothetically, I just thought, what if like the Browns get a quarterback like in the trade this offseason because they're going to be in play for Garoppolo,
right?
They're definitely going to be in play for Cutler, a couple of others, maybe Tyrod, but I do think Tyrod Taylor is going to. I think he's going to stay with the Bills now. It looks more likely that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Kaepernick can probably go to the Browns. But if Cutler goes to the Browns or Tony Romo, they're going to both retire. Like why would you end your career there?
It's one of those things where, like, I have a roommate who is a Jaguars fan. Yes.
Oh, gosh.
Nope, swear to God. It's the thing. And, the Jaguars have perpetually been the team where it's just like, we give you all of the money, and you're like, yay, I got paid. Oh, no, we stink. Like, it's just kind of how that goes. And other organizations like the Browns are the same way. It's just like, yay, I'm getting all this money to play for the Cleveland Browns. Why are we not winning? Why is this so sad? Why do we never make the playoffs? Except for 1 year where they had Derek Anderson. That's it. Basically, they've been terrible. The Niners are going to go there. They're going to stink probably for the next few years. Your boy John Lynch is going to try and get it done, but maybe that works. Maybe it doesn't. There's a couple situations where, I'd be surprised if he retired, but
yeah.
It would just kind of be like, I understand. It's fine.
I would definitely understand. Yeah, but I don't think Jay Cutler is going to retire. I think if he goes to the right spots, he will be fine. Well, speaking of the Niners, Anthony, when we come back, we're actually going to talk about a little meeting that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan had with Colin Kaepernick. So we're going to talk about the quarterback search of the 49ers when we get back to Going to Meet Concepts Football Podcast.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the Golden State Concepts Football Podcast. And one of the well, one of the new coaches this year is Kyle Shanahan. He signed with the 49ers on a 6-year contract. That drew a lot of criticism from Jay York. And John Lynch was named the general manager on this 6-year deal, which was kind of pretty crazy and drew a lot of criticism as well. Well, okay, so they got introduced a couple weeks ago, so now we're kind of like in the beginning of the tenure of both of the guys. Well, one of the discussions they had in the press conference was regarding Colin Kaepernick, and they said they will have a meeting with him. Well, that meeting happened earlier this week, and John Lynch, spoke to KNBR Radio, which is a station in San Francisco. It confirmed that he and Kyle Shanahan met with Kaepernick, and he said it was a positive meeting. It was a positive meeting. That's how he characterized it, positive. And Lynch said that, I think from the start, Kyle and I committed. I was a player once, and you just want to be honest. You want people to be honest with you. So the Niners need a quarterback. That's like one of their biggest needs, probably the need.
Well, we were the one talking yesterday about how they literally don't have a quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. They don't have one on the roster.
That's a hole in the system. That's they
don't. I said it. Yeah, and so the meeting comes literally like a little more than a week before Kaepernick will opt out of his contract, but it's going to happen. He's going to test the free agent market,
right?
And it's a pretty good market. It's a pretty good year to test the free agent market if you're a quarterback, because it's really weak this year outside of Kirk Cousins, Jimmy Garoppolo, Tony Romo, and Jay Cutler. Those are your top 4 guys. So it's expected for Kaepernick to take that opportunity to test the markets.
Right.
So the reason why we're talking about this is because the 49ers need quarterbacks. So which way should they go? The more I think about it, I don't think Kaepernick's going to play on the Niners next year.
No.
And I've been a Kaepernick supporter on the football field, ever since he started. But I've been a huge Kaepernick supporter even when that 1 year with Jim Tomsula, we all know how that year went. It just came and flew by,
right?
But felt like it dragged on for 2 years.
But
Kaepernick, he's not going to be on the Niners roster next year. I just can't see it anymore. I do think with the type of offense that Kyle Shanahan wants to run, I think he wants more of a kind of a pure pocket passer, whether that is Mr. Trubisky and coming out of the draft, whether that is Kirk Cousins, Jay Cutler, hopefully not. They're not going to get Tony Romo. They just don't have the pieces, or maybe Jimmy Garoppolo.
Right.
So, I do think that they're going to go with a guy. I think that the writing's on the wall for Colin Kaepernick.
He's probably not going to be back next year. If I had to bet, probably not, just because they've been together for a decent amount of time now. It's not like you don't know what he is. He might get better, don't get me wrong. Kaepernick might get better. He might become a better quarterback. But, we just saw with the Kings with DeMarcus Cousins, right? You were there for a long time, and now Kaepernick's got a lot more winning. He went to a Super Bowl with them, to where Cousins never made the playoffs. But it's the same kind of situation where eventually, you kind of have to break free from whatever situation you're in, because whatever it is, it's probably not going to get any better, and you might just need a new kind of voice talking to you, right? And I understand he's had different coaches and different GMs or whatever, but he's probably just in the situation where he's just look, let's just go to a different organization, wherever that be, even if it's in the backup, starter, wherever he's going to go. But let's just get a different mindset. Let's just get a different, feel of an organization. Let's go just totally different and just kind of reset the whole thing, right? Like I said, whether that's in Chicago, whether that's a backup in Philly or wherever he goes, just somewhere else, right? Because that's the only way you're actually going to be any better, because unless he makes it back to a Super Bowl, the Niner fans are always going to yell at him, right? Because it's one of those things of just you got rid of Alex Smith, when he didn't have anything to do with getting rid of Alex Smith. He was just the guy that Harbaugh chose. Well, you aren't as good as Alex Smith. Okay, that's fine, but that's also still not his fault. So no matter what he does, he's always going to get yelled at for certain things. So you might as well leave, and if you find success somewhere else, cool, awesome, fantastic, and we go from there.
Yeah, and Colin Kaepernick, in this report that I read, he actually reached out to John Lynch soon after the hire was announced, and I think if there's really not a whole lot of options out there, if they, let's just say they happen to fail on getting Garoppolo,
right?
Let's just say they don't even get Jay Cutler. Let's just say they do get Jay Cutler and he retires, which was a joke earlier in the show.
Sure.
Let's just say if they just strike out completely on every quarterback, and then they're like, okay, maybe we should bring this guy back for one more year, and then we'll go from there. So that's another way to look at it, but honestly, when I think of Colin Kaepernick in the free agency market, I don't know where I just don't know what interest he would generate. I do think the Browns will get some interest in there for a couple of reasons. For one, Hugh Jackson likes Colin Kaepernick, and Colin Kaepernick likes Hugh Jackson, so that can be a possibility there. And, he can be pretty much Kaepernick is this year's RG3
right
in the free agency market. So they can be a chance for, Colin Kaepernick to resurrect his career. And if he does it in Cleveland, Cleveland's going to love him.
Right.
I'm telling you that right now. Like, they're going to love him. They're not going to love us more. He's probably going to be third fiddle to LeBron and the Cleveland Indians, but they're going to love him.
The Cleveland, look. The Browns love anybody that gives them even a modicum of hope. They won a game this year. A game. Do you understand how bad you have to be to win a game? And,
all the way until December?
It was so, the team, you're going to be better just because, you kind of have to be. It's so hard not to be. But, they're just going to be hey, they'll talk themselves into anything. You could bring them, basically, Mitch Trubisky with a broken leg, and they'll be it's fine. This is fine.
It's fine.
This is fine.
If he has an arm, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's oh, yeah, so shoulder problems. This is fine. It's fine. We got this. They're just going to have hope for hope because why not? It's better to have hope than to be sad. And they're done with being sad. They were sad last year. So they're all right, cool. New direction, better thing. They had RG3. RG3 is basically some different version of Colin Kaepernick to where it's just basically oh, this guy was good at one time. Let's hope he can be good again. And I loved RG3 when he was in Washington. He was so good. And then he tore his knee up, and then that was all she wrote. And he's never been the same since then, to where Kaepernick was basically he was so good for about a year or two, and then the league caught up with him. So, I hope Kaepernick can get back to what he was, which is basically a successful quarterback that can keep, defenses on their toes. But if I'm a betting man in this whole thing, I don't see that, man. I wish it would, but, I don't see that.
Yeah, and I said that, I've been a Colin Kaepernick supporter. I do think that he was the best player last year for the Niners. That's saying a lot.
Right.
When you look at his numbers, he only threw for 16 touchdowns. But he only threw 4 interceptions, so that's probably the best ratio. That's the best ratio he's ever had.
Yeah, he was decent enough last year. The team was a dumpster fire inside of a, forest fire, inside of a war zone, but him as a quarterback, he wasn't terrible.
No, it's just that team was bad.
Right.
He was throwing it to guys like Quentin Patton,
right,
and Vance McDonald. He's throwing it to guys like that. I don't know. It's absolutely horrendous. But regarding the quarterback position for the 49ers, I can see them going. Honestly, the more realistic route I can see them going to, I can definitely see them going for Jay Cutler. Mm-hmm. I see him. It wouldn't surprise
Jay Cutler would probably not surprise me at all if they went with Jay Cutler. I can see that happening.
Because I do think right now, since Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have 6-year contracts,
right?
I don't think they're in a rush to get a quarterback right away. I do think they need a bridge guy.
6 years is so far, so long.
I know. They need I think they're more focused on getting a bridge quarterback. I think they're going to be more focused on building the team, and then they're going to try to find the quarterback later.
Right.
When I look at the quarterbacks in the draft, I don't think Mitch Trubisky is going to be a franchise guy. DeShone Kizer, he can be maybe, but maybe if he's at the right spot. Patrick Mahomes, I don't know. He's too much of a gunslinger to be a franchise quarterback. I think if he's in the right system and sits behind a veteran, he can be good. Deshaun Watson, I think he's the best quarterback in the draft. I love Deshaun Watson, but I don't know if he can be NFL ready day one. But remains to be seen. I do see the Niners getting Jay Cutler. That's more of a realistic option. I can see them going after Kirk Cousins. He's going to cost a lot of money.
Sure.
So, and then the Niners have cap space, so I can see them going that way.
Right.
But no matter who's the quarterback of this team's not going to win many games. This is the start of the rebuild. They're going to be. I honestly think they're going to win more than 2 games, but this team's still going to be bad.
Oh God, yeah.
I think they're going to be bad, and maybe that would be a good thing because I kind of think the quarterback class for 2018 in the draft is going to be better. Jake Browning might come out a year,
true,
a year early, and I do think if he has another strong year, he can be a first-round pick. So the 2018 class looks definitely better. So I think they're basically playing for draft position next year. That's just the way I'm going. Unless Jay Cutler happens to have like an MVP season when he throws like 35 touchdowns and like 5 interceptions, but that's not going to happen.
Right.
All right. Well. All right, that's all I got to say about that. So we do think that Colin Kaepernick is going to play next year.
Yeah, he'll play next year. I just don't think he'll be on the Niners by any stretch.
No, it's hard for me to picture him in a Niners new uniform next year.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to stick with quarterbacks on the show, and when we come back, we're going to talk about your boy Tom Brady, and he's been in the news twice for 2 different reasons.
Right.
So we're gonna tell you why he's been in news 2 straight days. So we're going to talk about Tom Brady when we get back to Going to Meet Concepts Football Podcast.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's GSMCpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, well, Tom Brady, he's coming off his 5th Super Bowl win after that historic comeback against the Falcons, which was 25-point deficit, by the way. And, Anthony's shaking his head, why? Why did he do it? And
it was a crazy game, man.
One of the storylines after the game was the jersey of Tom Brady and its whereabouts. So, me personally, I didn't really think, Tom Brady didn't really care. But, authorities have valued that jersey to be at least $500,000. So, Tom Brady took to Instagram earlier this week. And he looks like he's starting his own investigation of his missing Super Bowl jersey. So it's on his official Instagram page, so you can follow him and look at it all you want.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at it, there's a lot of pop culture references. Like, it's mind-blowing. Like, there's Swiper, maybe he took it. There's Golem from Lord of the Rings. You got Prison Mike, which was a character played by Steve Carell. Which was during his character as Michael Scott on The Office.
You got Jaws.
You got Lady Gaga. You got Air Bud. You got it all here.
You got O'Doyle Rules from Billy Madison. Like, you have like all these kind of things. It's a funny thing. Like, it's really kind of funny what he does. Like, he totally is just like, having fun with it, just making like random references. Like, oh, Gollum stole the ring. Crazy Michael Scott, Jaws, all these things. It's kind of like a funny thing just kind of see all the random pop culture references.
And then Julia Edelman is on there too.
Julia, yeah. Well, for whatever reason, Julia, he put his own teammate on the team. Like, I don't like, yeah.
Like, why? Okay, well, the thing that popped up to me was the Michael Scott picture on here.
Right.
And it comes from an episode called The Convict, and that's probably like my favorite Office episode.
Sure.
And then in the picture, he's playing the character Prison Mike.
Uh-huh.
And underneath the picture it says never been caught. So it's just like, I just thought of that whole scene. It's one of my favorite scenes in The Office. So if you haven't seen it, just watch the clip on YouTube. But still,
The Office is one of the most probably like underrated TV shows.
it is. I honestly
Because it doesn't
think
get
is.
as much like pub as like some of like, you know, like a Friends or whatever else like that, because it wasn't as iconic, or even How I Met Your Mother. It wasn't as iconic as that, but it was still like that, and 30 Rock were like TV shows that were like really, really funny in a time where like TV shows weren't as like, it was like at the end of like basic cable or network shows still being really big, because it was after Friends, after Seinfeld, all the stuff like that. And you had The Office, you had 30 Rock, you had these shows.
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec was real good.
Right,
Yeah.
and that was all around the same time when they were coming out, and the teams were I'm still in sports, but you had these things where, you know, it was still really funny, and they still have stuff now, but like that was like the end of like those three shows where they were still like really, really, really funny on network TV, and all these things, man, like Jaws, like for whatever Jaws, I don't know if that's a shot at Ron Jaworski, but like that's just like all these things that they have the picture of him when he was in the Deflategate courtroom,
Yes,
the horrible painting of him.
Yes.
Like they have all these things, and it's just the best. Like I give him a lot of credit for like having fun with this, and because you had to think about this, right? This isn't something that like you just kind of like put together in like 5 minutes. Like no, this took time. Like you wrote these things out. You've got like
he has like a police report on it.
yeah, the police. You have the scene of the crime. Like you have like the whole area of Houston, and it's like all these. Atlanta, where were they? Yeah, they were in Houston.
Yeah,
in Houston. Like you have like a picture up top, which I'm assuming he drew of himself, like a Tom Brady little like stick figure drawing. Like you have all these things. Like that took some time, man. That was a full day. You took a full day with that whole thing. And I guess he's got time. He's in the off season now. It doesn't matter.
And I like how they have like two of the Lord of the Rings characters and anime character. I don't know what anime character that is, but I
don't know who that anime character is. I'd have to talk to my friend Mel about that. She would know.
But it's under the caption, "Can't be trusted."
Right.
And then this is what the caption of this photo on Tom Brady's Instagram said. He even mentions Edelman. He's like, "Hey, Julian Edelman, you're suspect. Yeah, you. I don't even know what your reputation is in this town, but after that crap you pulled, you bet I'll be looking into you." So, yeah, he's on that. He's a suspect for his teammate's missing jersey.
Him and Edelman are boys.
Yeah, I know.
Him and Edelman are still boys.
I understand why he did that because, you know, they got a little bromance going on. But,
right.
Man, this is great. This is why I like Tom Brady.
And then
this
also,
is one of the reasons why.
So that's part one with Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Part two with Tom Brady is, again, Instagram. I got to follow Brady on Instagram, honestly.
Yeah,
it seems like a pretty good thing to do.
I got to follow him now, too. Like, ever since these stories, I'm like, wow, I've been sleeping on Tom Brady's Instagram account.
So he posted a video of basically someone, because it says of someone crashing hard on the ski jump. You know, I don't know if it's him or if it's not him, but it's basically someone on a jump, skis, and it didn't go well. It didn't land successfully, and when you're playing it, you can both hear kind of that, I don't know what it's called, like it's like an old kind of like...
Like a montage?
No.
Music?
The, kind of montagey music, but it's like, I can't think of what it's called, but it's just like, you know, I don't know, anyways. But like they also have Danger Zone from Kenny Loggins in there, so, you know, reference Top Gun and everything else like that. They have the person going up, and then down, and then you don't see him fall.
It was from South Park, the little.
And then after that, you have the South Park. You know, you're gonna have a bad time. You know, they French fried when you're supposed to pizza. You're gonna have a bad time.
Like, if you French fry when you're supposed to pizza, you're gonna have a bad time. Trust me.
Right? Is that guy? And then you get the whole, you know, Danger Zone, all this stuff. It's a funny thing to do. Like, I don't know if it's him because it's A, hard to tell. And B, you know, maybe it's him taking the video of like a buddy of his. Maybe it's of Edelman. Maybe he's making fun of Edelman again.
Maybe.
Would it surprise you if it like he went to Tahoe or wherever?
I would love if he did. I would love if he did post a picture of Edelman like just pretty much eating it on the ground.
I mean, we've seen Tom Brady in the past, right? We've seen him jump off of a cliff into water, right? We saw him cliff dive into the water like a few years back. We've seen him in Ibiza when he was supposed to be on his 4-game suspension with his wife, where it's basically just like, oh, I'm done for 4 games. Okay, cool. Giselle. Yeah, we're going to go to Ibiza. Yeah, it's cool. I got 4 games off. Let's go. We've seen him with this. Like, we basically see all the times he's flourishing. We basically see all the stuff that he's done where he's just basically like, yeah, I got some free time. All right, where in the world have I not visited yet?
Okay. Yeah, it is. Honestly... I think people are sleeping on Tom Brady's Instagram. I really think they are. But I like on this article I'm reading, I like the last line. It says, perhaps Bill Belichick should hold off on trading Jimmy Garoppolo. But honestly, though, I honestly don't think Tom Brady would put his life at risk like that. But if it is him, then, it kind of shows.
I just told you Tom Brady cliff dived into water.
I know, but it kind of shows his human side a little bit. Like, he's kind of like everyone else, except he has more money.
So much more money. Actually, not even so much more money. His wife has more money than him, but he has also so much more money than we do. Yeah,
but like him and that cliff diving, a lot of people got scared about that, right? Because that was really him.
That was legit him diving from or jumping, not diving, like feet first, whatever, but like jumping in from like pretty high up. It wasn't like 5-10 feet up. No, it was like 20-30 feet. Where it's like if something went wrong, it's like. Patriots quarterback Tom Brady, we just have breaking news. He broke his leg. He's going to be out for 6 months or something like that. Then ever sudden, everybody's just like yelling at him left and right. But it was fine, and now we're happy, and now we make jokes about him possibly falling when he's visiting, Tahoe or wherever this is.
All right, well, this has nothing to do with Tom Brady, but I wanted to bring this up. When we talking about injuries in the offseason doing outdoor activities. You remember Terrell Suggs?
Yes.
Tore his ACL playing a pickup basketball game.
Sure, right.
He was out for that entire year. So that's like.
I mean, you have those things. You have, Kellen Winslow riding a motorcycle in the parking lot, basically destroying his leg after that. You have situations, even in the NBA, Jay Williams with the motorcycle. Like, you have situations. That's why they, have it in the contract where it's just basically you are not allowed to do certain sports, right? You're not allowed to go off-roading. You're not allowed to ride a motorcycle. You're not allowed to do certain things like that because they invest X amount of millions of dollars in you, and they're like, we don't want to be told sometime in the off-season that our prized commodity all of a sudden now has a broken leg because he decided he wanted to go play basketball, and now his ankles are literally broken.
Yeah, let's just say hypothetically that cliff dive or jump that Tom Brady did. Let's just say if that went completely wrong, we wouldn't even be talking about this.
Oh, I'd still make jokes about it.
I know you will.
100%. Let's go.
All right. Well, it looks like Tom Brady is, having a pretty good offseason right now.
Of course.
So I just can't get over that board. He literally spent the whole day. Like, how long do you take to make that?
That takes some time, man.
First of all, you got to pretty much download all these pictures. You got to, print them. You got to kind of place them at a perfect rate. I just want to know Julie Edelman's reaction. I want to know Lady Gaga's reaction because she's a suspect too. But she probably won't react to it. She probably doesn't even know he did this.
She has no idea who Tom Brady is.
She doesn't. And I don't know. I can't get over I just can't get over it. I can't get over that he put Swiper on there.
There's everybody on that thing, man. It's funny.
That's funny. Well, we're going to leave on that note. It is Thursday. It's the off season. We wanted to get these jokes in. Yep. I definitely know you want to get these jokes in.
I'm always down for these jokes.
All right. Well, that concludes our show. I thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to be back tomorrow.
Yes, we will.
We're going to discuss anything that happens in the next 24 hours. Maybe Tom Brady will post something else on Instagram. We'll probably talk about that too. And, I thank you guys for tuning in. As always, I'm Jeremiah.
And I'm Anthony.
And thank you for tuning into the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. You guys have a great day.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.